Okay, so let's go through the research framework in details now. Alright, so this framework has been conceived as DEAPER, right? DEAPER. Like the others, this also has a acronym to it. It starts by digging, that is, we call the dig. There's an examination, we call the examine. We analyze. Then there's a production, which is basically called produce now. And then we evaluate and we repeat. Okay, so that is what DEAPER stands for. Now, what happens during each of the framework, right? Now, mind you, all these will also go through subsequent steps, and each of them has a methodology towards the outcome that you're desiring to have. So, with that said, the first level is exploring, right? The dig is nothing but exploring, that you go about going wild out there, getting all the possible data on your research material to the details, right? So the problem that you face, the need there is, the audience that is going to perceive these problems, and so on and so forth, and then the relevance. That means how is it relevant to that audience, the problems that have been found out or getting found out, right? Now, once you do that, you get enough data from various sources, and we'll go through those details from again. We discussed a few of those earlier, the sources to kind of source such kind of explore these kind of issues. We then go about investigating our find through the mode of the cause, the effect, the solution, and the elements from external forces that affected this. What does this mean, right? So remember, we started with a question, writing a book, and we said there's an answer which could be a form of a solution for the problem in the question. So this takes that view, right? So you dig from a problem that you have found, and you take basically 4 large activities to find them out. Then you go about using. Sorry, I had the mic which was out. I hope this was still clear and should be able to. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now, with that said, I'm hoping the previous audio was all right. Okay, so but okay, so continuing. So examine will consist of finding those solutions to the problems by the virtue of whatever you found out, but the intentions while exploring, right, while digging, should be the same as you move on. Now, once you have the problems and the need for the problem and the audience that is problem where the problem exists, right, and how it is relevant for the respective time frames, you start investigating it from again finding the cause, the effect, solution, and then the external forces responsible for that. So once you do that, you get into the analysis mode, right? I just repeated myself, assuming maybe the audio was not right, but you got a crux of it. Uh, so while processing and analyzing, right, you need to get into first organizing what you found out, because then it becomes a lot of madness. Uh, the way to typically put it into place is what we'll again discuss. How do you put that in an organized format, right? We have the typical why, where, when, what, how, right? Uh, and then each of them have further steps. But while you analyze what you found out, right, you start now funneling into smaller domains, which then formulates into ideas, because now you will find a pattern. That pattern is nothing but the problems and solution. Now you'll probably find a larger problem, but the problem will have smaller problems which have their respective solutions. Now those are the ideations that you will create. Okay. Now once you do that and you have now organized data, or in a classical synthesizing format, you put it into different layers and different applicability of sorts, you then start producing or creating it as a research outcome through various media elements. Now, this would mean, in form of written words, which could be a talk format, It could be a PPT of findings, like a PowerPoint. It could be a spreadsheet, like an Excel sheet, right? And there could be various formats. Now, this format that you use, the purpose has to be very important, right? That you're going to eventually use the research for. If it's a research document, right? Then all the data synthesis should be as part of your Excel sheet, which you can take details from and put it into maybe a Word document or a PPT document for showcasing it. If it is for, say, creating a video, right, where you do this, again, Excel helps. It helps us, can help you. Excel, where you put certain, we'll give you those templates where you need to put it in a certain format, and then you create your scenes and your scenarios and choose your video clips accordingly to showcase that. And if it's a book, right, again, an Excel format with various topics, subtopics, subjects, etc., come to existence with some remarks, and you use that to, and you of course put your reference points. The most important thing in the entire research document is your reference points, where that reference is coming from, that you found a solution from. Okay, and is it the right sources? The source has to be absolutely potent, right? With some conceived security and have credentials and so on and so forth. Now, with that said, once you produce this, right, you should also know who this audience is for. If it's a senior audience, junior audience, or general public, and so on and so forth, then you choose the medium and the formats accordingly. All right, that's very important in this case. So once you do that, you also create a feedback mechanism to give some inputs to you initially, so that you can make the right changes in case it's required to. And then you basically give the outcome of the entire elements along with the feedback, and do the final assessment to give the final document as a stamp. When I say stamp document, it is certified and signed by you. Okay, so that is an outcome of a research framework. Okay, easier said than done. It typically gets very tricky because of analysis and so on and so forth. And then you repeat the cycle, basically. Okay, so this is a typical framework, right? And I will show you how this is done. Again, we'll use practicals to do that at the right time. Now, with that, we will go to the next topic, which is the methodology, and I'll come back to you in the next lecture. I'll see you there.